Welcome to Daisy Chain. In my workroom here, we're in the basement of my home. I started my business in 2000. Unlike many of workrooms, I had my business for many years before having children, and so mine has been an adjustment to try and not start the business, but try to maintain it with the child. So I worked full-time for many years, and then transitioning into a newborn and then now a toddler, I have less time in the workroom. So it's kind of been a juggling act of how to manage the clients I've built while still having a family. So as you look through the workroom today, you're going to see a lot of things with the 2-year-old in mind, because when he comes down here, I need to make sure he's not getting into things and getting into trouble. For example, if you look down here, I've got, I can't leave anything down here that he can reach and destroy. So he does like to play with the cords, however I won't leave any sharp objects down low. I bought this little tray, and I've put screws in a couple spots on the table so that I can hook it on. It hooks right off. So far he has not figured out that there's anything inside of here, but that's not going to last very long. This is not going to last very long either, with the scissors hanging this low once he can reach those. My dad built the table. I helped him a little bit with this. So the table's 10 foot by 5 foot. And I wanted it an open concept so that I could access things underneath. I used to have he had built a table before this for me, and it had sides on it, and it was not on wheels. And we actually had like a fluke thing with some water in the basement a number of years ago, and after that, almost destroying it did ruin a lot of the stuff we had, like supplies, but after that I needed my table up off the ground just in case that happened again. So that's why it is on wheels, so that we can move it, and I never put any of my fabrics for jobs on the floor. I love using this metal track with the channel on the top so that I can cut straight lines when I'm rolling fabric out. I also like using, with big bolts of fabric, I don't have a rack to hold my fabric bolts, and so when I'm going to roll it out to measure and inspect it, I put it on here. Or with lining, I can roll that out to do big long cuts. I also like to have easy access to my staple gun. I do a lot of cornices, and it's hooked up to the compressor inside a storage room here that I have, so that I can put my cord right here, pull it down, move around the table with lots of easy access to all sides with that staple gun. When we bought the house, my dad, who is in Michigan, came out and stayed with us for a while, gutted the basement, reconfigured it so that my workroom would flow better. One of the things he did was bust through this wall. There was an addition upstairs, and they did not open it to the basement, and so he bust through the wall to added steps here so that I could have some storage for my workroom. Here I store fabric for jobs, some old and some current jobs. Book covers is a pretty big part of my business, so when I want to save my back, I have stands to put that up so that I'm not constantly bending over working on them. This sewing machine was the first sewing machine I ever got. My grandmother bought it for me as a wedding present, and I only pretty much use it for buttonholes now. But I think my grandma would be happy to know how much I do love sewing now. She had passed pretty shortly after I got married and did not know that I had started my business. I use my blackboard for keeping track of jobs. I also pin up when I've got my sketches or measurements. When I'm working on a job here, I pin them, or I put them up on with the magnets on the blackboard to be able to refer to them. I like to, because I do more than just the fabrication, sometimes I'm monitoring magazine things or something else that I need to remember while I'm down here, so I kind of jot it on there. and then remind myself later to do that. My Do Fix iron is on the floor right now. I have not purchased the track for it yet, and we have not put the tank up off the floor. Speaking of a 2-year-old, there's some dangers with that. So I do not allow him downstairs if it's on, because I don't want him to burn himself. So that is a concern that I need to get that up off the floor very soon. This machine is a walking foot, which I use for slip covers and pattern matching. It's a beautiful machine for when you really want to get a good pattern match. It's a workhorse, and I love having this machine. This machine is my straight stitch, which I do use for a lot of mostly draperies and lighter weight fabrics like that. And if you can hear my son talking in the background, I think. This is my serger, which I use when you do slip covers. A lot of slip covers you do need an industrial serger, because I burned through my first serger that was a baby lock, I think. I burned through it pretty quickly when I was doing slip covers. So this is my Juki that I love using. This is my blind hammer, and I love it. It's a US blind stitch, and what I love about it is that you don't have to adjust it really requires very little adjusting between different weight fabrics. Stands I bought at, I think, Home Depot, and you can see that I use them for valances to put when I have top boards that I need to put up and I need them off on my table. You can raise it like this, and you can clamp right to it. The workroom tour wouldn't be complete without seeing my pretty pink box. This is my toolbox that I like to store more things that need to be off of the floor away from my son. I keep a lot of my pencils, chalks, things I use regularly in the top here. And I keep some of the tools. And down here I even have a drawer where I keep all my grommets and the cutters and things like that, and some clamps down here. Along with this pink toolbox, I like to go to an install and still look pretty, right? So why do we have to have boring toolboxes? I've got the same line of the pink box of a toolbox here. So these are the tool bags I take to jobs when I go for installs. And you'll notice it's all zipped up with the sharp tools out of reach of my son. My husband also works from home, so he has sort of divided the space here. He gets a bit of it, and his work area is here. We are runners, and so in the winter time we do a lot of running on the treadmill, so we didn't want to get rid of that when I set up my workroom. Over here is my work area where I do paperwork and quoting.
Oh, hi. Lori Medford from Rolly Company is going to be a writer in issue 4 of Drapery and Design magazine.
That's exciting.
I know.
My time is divided between not just Daisy Chain, but also Drapery Design magazine, which is why Jill is here. Jill doesn't live here. She is here for a couple days. We're doing some filming for the magazine. We are both editors for the Drapery and Design magazine, and that is why you'll see her sitting at my desk today.
Drapery and Design magazine is a digital-only quarterly magazine published for our industry. We focus on articles of color, for designers, for drapery, for upholstery, slipcovers, really you name it. We also have articles for installers, so if you're in the industry in any capacity, it's for you. You can go to our website at draperyanddesignmagazine.com. We're always looking for writers as well as advertisers, of course. But if you're interested in writing, go to the tab on the top of the website, again, draperyanddesignmagazine.com, and click on Writers. And we will, after we have your information, your name, email, and any additional comments that you may have, we would love to send you our writer's guidelines and have you brainstorm with us and come up with a great article for a future issue.
What I've discovered in becoming a parent is that time management is extremely critical. And surprisingly, what I learned as well, that after I became a lot more disciplined in my time, I started making more money because I started taking, I was more selective with what jobs I was taking, whereas when I was working full-time, I would take filler work and small kind of jobs that were not as much money makers. And because my time's divided between the magazine and parenting and Daisy Chain, I have become very selective and in fact started making more money, which is a very exciting part of what I've learned in the last couple of years. So as a juggling all three, our lives right now, the reality is that we are in a juggling act, and it takes a group effort with my husband and myself, and honestly I wouldn't have it any other way because we love it.